Hey you guys, Deb Horn here. It's This Week at WeBuyHouses.com. We have a special guest today, Stephen Johnson. He's come up from Waco, Temple, Killeen. We're going to talk to him today and find out what makes him tick. We got Mike McMahon on the end there. He's
always rock solid as usual.
Mike McMahon. I wanted to call him Ed McMahon. Mike Van Norden. He's
Dude,
my Ed
McMahon
McMahon.
is dead. Is he dead?
You know, one of my best friends is named Mike McMahon.
Okay.
That's why I got off.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Mike Van Norden is Ed McMahon. I'm Johnny Carson, and you're Tom Cruise.
That works for me.
That's him, right.
I'm a little taller.
About a
foot taller
he
than
divorced Katie, didn't he?
Yeah, she's old. She's
old.
I don't spend much time thinking about her anymore.
This is our weekly show, and we just want to take advantage of the fact that Steve's up from Waco, Temple, Killeen, where his market and We Buy Houses, and he's doing some shows with us about sales process and qualifying sellers and how you get deals right with the right numbers and right profit and the right everything. Sure. So this guy's a master at it. So we're going to spend some time with him today. In this little show, we just kind of want to get to know you a little bit and maybe throw a couple of tips out. This show goes out to a broader audience than just the licensees.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you end up here at WeBuyHouses.com buying houses?
Well, I guess it started probably in my mid-20s during the initial real estate boom. I had a friend in Florida who was just crushing it. He was doing the bandit signs and made about $700,000 his first year. And I moved from North Carolina, where I was actually teaching students sales as part of a program. And I got into house flipping and started putting the bandit signs out, and never had quite the super success that I wanted doing it. I mean, Florida, for those of you that don't know, back in 2004 when this was, is pretty much anybody could buy a house and then list it like 3 months later. Ben, if you're watching, I'm not taking anything away from you. You're a genius. Anyways, long story short, I ended up going back to school, and when I graduated UT Austin in 2013, I started working for a very intelligent auction buyer. I learned a lot working with him, and then I wanted to try the other side of what I'd done before, buying from motivated sellers, because I enjoy sales. So I started working with a different national home buyer, and did that for 6 months and was able to get really, really good results. And I took those results to people I knew and basically said, hey, I can do this, but I don't want to do it here. I found this cool company here called WeBuyHouses.com. And what I know works is, these scenarios and, kind of this much is what we're spending on marketing, and I need to duplicate that. So I was able to bring on a small equity partner, so I could just basically take what I learned with the We Buy Houses brand behind me and just put in place what I'd been previously doing. And the second I did that, within 10 days of, I guess I want to say I got my license. My first license was like early February, but I think my first marketing dollar spent was February 17th. And, within 30 days, I'd have my first 3 house flips, and sure felt like the biggest buyer in Waco and acted like it, and I probably am now. Yeah, but I kind of took what I knew worked and then got into this name brand, so I could use this name brand to kind of duplicate it, and that's, I guess, what got me to this point.
So do you feel,
Stephen, answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel
like
Steve,
that was a long route
brand?
To it.
Yeah, right. No,
the brand is
right.
everything.
So
I had to have that part of it,
and that has helped with the perception of the seller from the get-go. Does it help grease the slide a little bit? So when you talk to
No doubt, but a big part of it is I know I am actually the bigger brand. I know I spend a few bucks to license it, and that I spend some money every month to market, and I know I'm a serious buyer, and I know I have the money, and there's no better. I can't think of anything better than a WeBuyHouses.com. I couldn't invent one better, and I was shocked when So all of that and my attitude, like I really know that I'm a big buyer. Just so because I'm with WeBuyHouses.com, I've got money and I'm spending money and I've got an organization behind me. And a lot of these people, unfortunately, will have their time wasted by, and hey, nothing knocking wholesalers or bandits. Everybody starts somewhere, but there ain't WeBuyHouses.com.
That's it.
It's not the same.
So psychologically, that it instills that confidence to go out, and that's something that you don't even have to manufacture. It's there.
I feel it, and
it's emotional. That it's huge.
And I learned that buying with the other organization. I've learned that was the difference. I was like, when I was going around putting out signs, and I felt like a small fish, and versus when I was actually buying for somebody that was more legitimate. And it also intended to fix up the houses, and I knew I just needed to duplicate that feeling, but I wanted to go with obviously what I felt was a better company and system, so that's how I came here. And to me, that's key. It's like you've got to really know that you are the real deal, and because they'll pick up on that.
Well,
and
let me say
one
more thing, and I just want to touch on this while I'm thinking about it. And you feel that the seller picks up on that, and that transcends from the way that you talk, being with the brand, and they pick up on that.
Without a doubt.
And therefore, they're much more likely to do business with you because of that perception, as opposed to these
honestly, half the time they call and I'm like, well, how'd you hear about us? We're the main guys, or you're recommended, and I get that a lot. In fact, that recorded phone call, that's the guy. He's like, out of Dallas. He's like, y'all were the main guys.
Wow. So when you think about this, when people come to you, what is your main goal when you make that first contact? What are you trying to determine in that first phone call, in that first moment of truth between you and the home seller? What is your main goal right out the gate?
Man, that's a good question. Probably if this is gonna be not in the cheesy way, people like, is this a good fit for both or win-win? But is it kind of gonna fit? So I'm trying to figure out one of my favorite questions is, can you tell me about why you're selling the house? And I'm trying to basically figure out why they're selling. I like to know how long they've owned it or lived there, what's going on, and as they answer those questions, they kind of give me the information I need to be able to say, I can recommend an agent, or blah blah blah, or and the reality is you just need the ones that are good, right? And so out of 10 calls, maybe 3 are killer deals. And I just need to meet with those. And I'll even openly, kind of communicate that and say, look, I'm just sort of need to be able to figure out if it's worth your time to meet with me, or, what.
It's like any other business, right? So you have a product or a solution, and that solution will fit certain situations, and for other situations it may not be the best fit. So
it's basically it's like a step one is let's talk about it, versus sometimes people are nervous to answer the phone because they want a house to buy. Sometimes people on the other end are going through some stuff and they're eager to just cut to the chase. And for me, step one is just kicking it out of that into, hey, let's get to talking and figure out some stuff and chat.
If you start to determine that they aren't motivated, what do you do with that caller? I would imagine out of 10 calls that 6 of them are probably not that motivated, right?
I think a lot of times I just keep assuming that they're motivated, and maybe I'm probably needing to ask more questions, because we talked about this being a closer, right or wrong, you're probably going to close a lot more if you believe that whoever walks onto that car lot is closable.
Absolutely.
And if you're confident enough in your abilities, like we were chatting about, you don't have a problem dissecting what you did wrong.
Exactly.
And,
you have to.
And I think I jumped into that immediately when we were role playing something. I was like, well, shoot, here's where I messed up in that call and why I went in that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say if somebody won't tell me why they're selling, or they don't seem to have any motivation, I'd probably want to work backward a little bit in my phone call, figure out, and maybe what they said that I missed, or just keep probing, because I don't know. When was the last time you called somebody to come give you a bid on painting your house? Mm-hmm. When did you do that last?
I do it more frequently maybe than other people as far as just...
Or how about putting a new roof? Do you have somebody come they do a bid to give you a new roof once a month?
Sure. No, not once.
No, not once a month. So I just kind of assume if they're calling us that there's motivation.
Is it also not related?
Well, even if they won't tell me, I guess.
And I know you have a question, but is it also not related to the marketing itself and the message? And that I used to think people that sent out the yellow letters that said "My wife and I love your house" are getting all the wrong phone calls.
Right.
Because, this guy's probably going to pay top dollar, right? Because his wife wants it.
Yeah.
So he calls you. You're starting in a really bad spot.
Trouble.
Where if we send a message out that says, in a hurry, want to sell for cash, no repairs, easy, then the message you send out into the market is that, then the person that responds is more likely to fit that profile. And therefore, you have a higher percentage of the calls that you can convert into deals. So I think a lot of it begins with marketing message, and then the WeBuyHouses.com brand gives credibility in the marketplace, because there's so many people out there saying, I buy houses fast for cash, blah, blah, blah. And so you take a guy that knows what he's doing and kind of give him that that wrapper, and he can really excel in the marketplace. I think that's what we've seen. But it's all about getting the right people to come in the door.
The neatest thing about it is that it's unlike a lot of sales where you're they may want whatever it is, but they might not necessarily need to get it. Whereas in our situation, it's cool because they do need somebody to help them if they're in a tough spot, and we can sort of more focus on that because we have this cool the resources in this network is just every day I'm like, oh wow, we've got that, oh wow, we do that, oh wow, that, it's one after the other, and I think that kind of all starts coming together.
I've always said that it only works if at the heart of it is a real estate professional. You know your market.
For sure.
You know your process.
Exactly.
You have money.
Yep.
Certain things.
You reminded me something.
This is a business like any other business, and I think there's a perception sometimes that you can go to a seminar at a hotel one weekend and Monday start putting the signs out, and you're a real estate investor. And the reality is there's a lot to it, and what we're going to do in the next we're going to kind of wrap our little news program, because we're going to film all afternoon. We're going to take this conversation and we're going to really go deep with Stephen, and kind of go process by process, and we'll share a lot of that with you guys publicly. Most of it will be for our licensees, but we'll give you some glimpses into that. The other thing to wrap up the show is to just mention we did have Hurricane Irma hit Florida, came right in and hit a lot of our licensees. Who would have thought it would come in and hit that side of Florida? Yeah. But we're in down there in South Florida.
Naples
we're in
area,
Naples, we're in Bradenton,
Collier County,
Manatee County, all the way up to Pinellas, Hillsborough counties. So we took a huge hit there. We took a huge hit in Houston, and the good news is, and really some of our largest licensees is a crazy part, is a 1-2 punch. Those two things. the great news, nobody hurt, nobody lost their house. There was a lot of damage to properties that were in process, lots. And
if you can replace property,
you can replace all that stuff.
Yeah,
so everybody's
I don't know
safe.
where y'all are from, but being from Houston, I'll tell you, man, everybody around there, the attitudes, and it's neat to see how everybody's, man, they are crushing it, like as far as
it is
trying to
Chris
kick its butt.
We asked him, what's going on down there, and he says, well, people are kind of stunned still. They they haven't yet worked out things with their insurance company or with FEMA or done the demo, and so they're just stunned. They're not yet, but kind of calling Chris to say, hey, what can you do about this situation with my house? But we do expect a lot of that in the future, and so I hope that WeBuyHouses.com has a role to play in restoring a lot of these neighborhoods and helping people to get back into a great house. So anyway, that's you guys have anything else to say before we close?
I think that's a wrap for this session.
That's good.
No,
well, hey,
thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, and like I said, you'll see other segments of our talks today. But as far as this week in We Buy Houses, we are done. Bump, bump, boom. See you next week. All right.
Anyhow.